How close is A.J. Brown to going down as the best wide receiver in Eagles franchise history? What about Jalen Hurts? Can he take the mantle as the best quarterback in Eagles history? Is Tanner McKee hot on his heels? We'll find out next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. PHLY Eagles podcast on a Monday afternoon, presented by TrueMark Financial. I am Bo Wulf. I've got Jamie Lynch to my left, handsome Rich Hofmann all the way over there. How you guys doing? We got to see each other on Saturday at the big Liberty Open. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right. You know, nice little Father's Day yesterday. Saturday was a good time. It's a good weekend.
I was not expecting, first time I've golfed this year, my knees were sore.
Yeah?
Yeah, it must have been just swinging through my heels. I played very well, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, I surprised myself. Yeah.
We had two Wolves. In the same scramble.
My buddy Mike and some guy I'd never met joined us. We played pretty well. I was happy.
Nice.
Yeah, I hit some good shots. How are you guys? How was your event?
It was great. I played with Fran. Always fun playing with.
Oh, you must have paid the big bucks then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I paid for the other two spots in our group
just so I could have
just
myself.
So play. Yeah. But that's not how a scramble works. I learned that when I was there. No, I actually knew that already. But we were only playing with each of our two shots, so we had a lot of fun.
You guys should have hit two shots each.
That's kind of cheating, though. I feel like you get a little dialed after it was over. But yeah, we had a lot of fun.
And the infamous shotgun start, you know?
Yes.
Zach Baun was very curious about.
What was it? Give me the best shot you guys hit.
Ooh.
So on the 8th hole, I think it was par 5, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a long one.
I hit a good drive, and then I hit it to about, it's like a big uphill green kind of type thing. Pin was in the back right. Hit it to about the middle of the green, about 15 feet away. Of course, we both missed the putt afterwards, but you know.
Yeah, I think
felt pretty good though.
I think I hit about a 180, like within 12 feet.
That's
okay.
It was the type of shot though. It's like, you know, even if I have a bad round, if I hit one of those shots, that'll get me back.
Yeah, we missed we left a lot of putts.
I like that.
Putts.
We had one hole. I want to say it was 6 or 7 or whatever it was, where there was another group on the tee watching us like hit our approach shots, and for the only time all day, like all 4 of us
laced them,
like hit them on the green, like very nice. And I went last, and I stuck it to like a foot, and they were like very impressed with us. I was like, this was you guys are thank you, but this was not it. And then there was also that one hole where it's like a straight dog leg left, and it was really good team scramble golf where somebody put in the fairway. I took a 3-wood over the trees, landed on the green.
I know
gave us an Eagles putt, an eagle putt. That was
actually that might have been my drive of the day. I baby faded it like perfectly and ended up like 6 feet off the green.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I will give Fran credit. I've played with him a few times. The last hole we played was the hole that had the longest drive competition. Fran pulls out a red golf ball for the first time in the entire round. And he lost the long drive competition by like a yard. He hit it like 300 yards.
To a guy, now listen, might be a sicko, but we think was playing from the...
Might have been playing from the senior
team.
Yeah. So Fran actually might have...
Fran had the longest...
the longest actual drive in there too.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
It was impressive. It was the best drive I've seen since when I played with Fran. And I think you might have been with us for this one. The starter was being kind of a jerk and trying to move us along when he was like, you guys aren't playing fast enough. And I think we had played the front 9 in under 2 hours too. So it was pretty quick round as far as these things go. And everybody was absolutely furious. And Fran absolutely piped one because he was so frustrated.
I think I have a faint recollection of that. I might have been there for that. Okay.
All right. Good.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Somewhere Zach is yelling at us. He wants us to get to Eagles talk. But you know what? It's June. We're going to be okay. Welcome to Spirit Week, by the way. Very exciting. We're all wearing some PHLY stuff here. Fun conceit for the week. We've got a bunch of surprises along the way. On Wednesday, which we will talk about in a little bit, we're going to have like a kind of I wouldn't call it a host swap necessarily, but we got a bunch of different shows mixing and matching the PHLY talent, so that will be a lot of fun. And we've got a couple fun topics to talk about today, including I want to go through the roster and you guys tell me how likely it is that some of the players on this team go down as the best player in franchise history. So we'll go through that. And we also have, I know that there are sickos out there who watched the three of us do an episode a few months ago, many months ago, in which we drafted which players on defense were going to play the most snaps this season. Well, guess what? I have the results. And we're finally going to get to check back in on that and find out who won, and we'll give them proper credit. So
some are calling that a tentpole show during the year.
I would say so.
The defensive snaps.
Rising up the ranks in the most coveted games of PHLY. So it's exciting. All right, let's start with
ZB's waiting for the Karen Reed verdict, says the chat. Oh, aren't we all?
I actually had not been following this. You guys were.
Yeah, we debriefed you in about 3 minutes, as much as we could.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Could go either way. It's a fascinating trial.
I could talk about it for an hour here, but I feel like I kind of would be misrepresenting what was going on. I watched the whole documentary. I don't remember every single detail, but
there's a lot of details.
If you guys want to check out that doc, it's on. I think it's on HBO Max. Pretty interesting true crime case.
And we will get to Eagles talk. We will get there. But I do have to say, first of all, congratulations to Julia's brother on getting married over the weekend.
Ian.
And please welcome Julia to the doghouse because they got married like a block away from me. And I only find out now. Julia doesn't tell me. She's a pop by. I thought it was on Saturday. Oh, it was on Saturday. But the golf didn't start till 2. It was probably in the morning, right?
No, it was actually at 2.
Well, that's why I was late to the golf. I was waiting for you to say hi. Doghouse.
It's crazy how many people go to that area.
It's crazy. Yeah, just ignore me.
When somebody dropped into the neighborhood recently, when they took their daughters to the skating rink.
Proper credit, absolly. As I've talked about,
I did say if you're able to sneak out for a beer, we'll be at New Age.
It's good to know who your friends are. Your true friends. So thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
If we renew our vows, you'll have to be my best man. All right. Let's start with the obvious one. Although maybe it's not so obvious. It's a two-way race, I would say, for the best offensive tackle in Eagles history. Is it Lane Johnson or is it Jason Peters? Now, Pro Bowl-wise, Lane is still one behind. He's at 6. JP's got 7. And I would have thought it was crazy to think that somebody could approach Jason Peters there. But even right now, I think no more seasons. I might even give the edge to Lane. What do you guys think?
I have a little bit of a take.
Okay.
And it's that Lane Johnson is going to be the greatest Eagle ever. Now, that does not mean that he is a better player than Reggie White. I'm not going that far. But I think when you take into account win-losses with him and without him in a lineup, 2 Super Bowls, stability on the right side, just an absolute freak, I think Lane Johnson is the best Eagle ever.
Do we know when?
I give it to him. Yeah.
Okay.
I give it to him.
So my question is, has he given kind of an update on when he is going to retire?
He just said last week that he feels like he's just reaching his prime now, right?
Yeah, I think he has said at least 2 more years.
Okay.
He feels like he can be like really, really good at least 2 more years and then like reassess after that.
So I didn't know you were saying tackle. I didn't know you were combining the two. I had a few tiers for the players on the roster, and there was only one in the already there tier where they're already the best player. Now, this was for right tackle, so I think you can argue with Jason Peters, and that's obviously Lane Johnson. And yeah, I mean, if he plays 2 more years, feel like he probably has to get there. I mean, he's won 2 Super Bowls too. I think that is part of a tiebreaker where, he's been on these, Jason Peters was on some very good offensive lines. Lane Johnson was on a lot of those lines anyway, and he's been on some dominant ones without Jason Peters as well. So I think I would have him already there.
And he has also changed like the national conversation and understanding of, it used to be that both tackles were considered the same. And then for so long it was like, man, the left tackle, the blind side, that's the one that's really important. And it's all about types. You get your athletic pass protector on the left side, You get your Runyon type on the right side, and that's where you're going to run the ball. And Lane, almost single-handedly, has like changed the league's opinion of that. And like you just need to have a really good player at both spots. And left tackle is not that much more important than right tackle.
I think it was during the 2017 season. Some people were pointing out like, yeah, all the best edge rushers are actually left defensive ends, and they're mostly, obviously they switch a little bit, but they're mostly rushing from that side. And the Eagles, they had a stretch of it was like Von Miller and Khalil Mack, and it was like a bunch of guys in a row. And you didn't hear anything about these guys because Lane Johnson would just shut them down. And that's been really the story of his career where, you really don't have to worry about him. If you look at the stats too, the Eagles put their tackles on islands more than pretty much anybody in the league. And yet you still don't even hear from these guys. It has been such a wild team building advantage for them for a long time.
Yeah,
it's the big one.
We're incredibly spoiled here. Like sometimes I flash forward to the future and I'm like, man, what's it going to be like to not have Lane Johnson there? And it's like a scary unknown because it's going to be 15 years of just dominance. Like he came into the league and was great.
Yes.
And just got better.
And I actually asked this to Lane when he spoke to the media a couple weeks ago. And it's an interesting thought is if Lane were here, but Jeff Stoutland wasn't here, what would his career have looked like? And I think Lane is too good to just give the credit to Jeff Stoutland, right? Yeah. I think he would have been an amazing player, but I think it's probably fair to wonder, would he have been in a franchise elite player without Stout along the way?
I mean, I would probably say yes, but there's no way to know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Stoutland gave him some of the material between the ears that took him to the next level. But I do think he's that special of a player that I think even without Stout, he's still probably the franchise's all-time right tackle. Maybe doesn't get ahead of Peters, but is damn close.
I think he's there.
I
think with one more,
I think he's there now.
Good season, he's already there.
Yeah, I'll lock him in.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's the best Eagle ever. So,
all right, Rich, give me who is the next on your tier list?
So I had likely as the next tier, and there were a few names here. The next two tiers I had were likely and possible.
Okay.
Where, I think some of that is longevity. Some of that
they've all got work to do. Yeah.
Some of that is it. So there were two names I was debating. I guess you could also, if you split up the tackle sides too, you could talk about Jordan Mailata. So the next two names that I was thinking of, the first one that came to mind, even though he has only been here for a few years, is A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The numbers he has put up he's
14th on their all-time receiving yardage list already.
Absolutely insane. Now, are there some worries about, is he going to be here for the long run? Because it's a pretty popular take that people think, I'd actually bet on DeVonta Smith being here a little bit longer than A.J. Brown for a bunch of reasons. Part of it is just play style, right? And it's just like, A.J. Brown dealing with injuries. I mean, that's part of the reason he was available for the Eagles in the first place when they brought him over because of his injury history. But A.J. Brown is on a different level. He's completely dominant. Like you said, 14th in receiving already. Give me like a couple more good years. Who would you say is the best Eagles receiver of all time?
It's tough between Quick and Harold.
Harold and Mike, yeah.
Harold probably relative to his his peers, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. But like cumulative production, Quick is hard to beat. However, all of those things said, now this is where the 17th game does bother me a little bit, but AJ's already got the two most productive receiving seasons in franchise history. If you average out what he's done per year over the first 3 years, if he has two more of those years, he will already be third all time.
That's what I was just looking at. Like Deshaun Jackson is third with 6,500 yards.
He'll already pass that.
And Deshaun Jackson, for as good as he was.
By the way, second is Pete Retzlaff, who's not a
And by the way, he's going to be here 2 more years. So.
Deshaun Jackson had a catch rate of 55.3%. A.J. Brown is 65.3%. DeVonta Smith just behind him, 69.8%.
Okay.
Yeah. Both of them have a shot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like if it goes the way that you say, where maybe AJ's gone in 2 years, but DeVonta's here for 8 more years.
Those numbers are going to be insane.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, listen, the outsized impact, it used to always be just T.O. stood out there as the best season, right? He was the guy. AJ's been better than that at least twice. And on a per route basis, like all 3 years, kind of ridiculous he didn't make the Pro Bowl last year. But the leader if you're just doing Pro Bowls, is Quick, who's got 5. AJ's already got 2. I don't think it's crazy to think that AJ will eventually go down as pretty consensus the best receiver in franchise history.
I have no problem with that. I think he ends up there. So, I mean, he basically needs 3 more years to be an undeniable, Mount Rushmore receiver for the Eagles. So, I think he gets there.
Claire's hitting up Tommy McDonald. I see here, and listen, I didn't get to see Tommy play. It's tough.
I got to see the Tommy play, though.
You got to see the Tommy play.
Yeah, Ray Didinger.
Ray Diddy.
Yeah, how are we are we gonna when we get to Chuck Bednarik at linebacker? Like, how are we gonna factor this all in? I feel like for the purposes of this conversation, we can say Super Bowl era.
Yeah.
Are you saying Chuck Bednarik was playing against plumbers and firemen?
I'm just saying, when you can double fist cigarettes at halftime of the game,
off-season job.
By the way, did DeVonta? Didn't he have an answer last week where he was talking about his 3 greatest catches of all time?
Yeah.
Did he not put the national championship catch in there?
I think that he was thinking NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like so confused by that. I was like, dude, you had a walk-off national championship touchdown.
Yeah. That's true.
That's all.
Was the dagger in there? I didn't hear this part.
He said top 3. That was why it was asked.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a name. It's got to be up there.
Yeah. And he said two other Washington catches.
Also, I was like not happy with that answer for some reason. What about the Jacksonville catch this year? The one Washington catch in 2022.
What about the Cincinnati one this year?
Yes.
That one was insane.
That was a great one. Yeah, the Washington catch from 2022, I think it was week 3.
When he goes way up and
in
Washington. Back.
That was sick. I agree with that one. The Jacksonville one on Ronald Darby this year. What a catch.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was insane. Yeah.
He's got a good list, though. I mean, I think I'm a little mad at his answers, but really he should just expand the list. Expand it to like 10.
Now that would be good. He's starting to create content. That's what he should do. He should do a video of his 10 best catches.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, AJ Brown too, like if he was fed the ball at the rate of like a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or something, he might already be there.
Yeah.
This might be a conversation where you're like, oh yeah, he's already the best Eagles wide receiver.
Last year he was the most underrated receiver in football just because they didn't throw the ball that much.
And he catches everything.
He's the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
Do you agree with ZB? You think they're going to throw more this year?
I think they're going to throw more.
Take some wear off of Saquon or Patullo influence or what?
I think to take some off of Saquon to make AJ and DeVonta happy, to balance off what they expect defenses to do to them. I think a little bit of all of that, but I don't know that it's going to be, like what it was in 2022.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Quick break to hear from our sponsors, and then on the other side, we'll continue going to hear. We haven't gotten to Tanner McKee yet. We haven't gotten to Antoine Powell-Ryland, so we'll get to all those guys coming up just after this. A picture is worth, the saying, 1,000 words. And this local Philly artist proves it. We're talking about our friend at Art of Words. Each piece is made entirely from handwritten words, like every eagle forming the link and every Philly shaping Citizens Bank Park. We are talking, it's gift season. My poor wife had to go birthday right into Father's Day same week. Gift overload, that's brutal. If you're getting something like that and you got a big Philly sports fan in your life, let's do it. Art of Words. Code PHLY will get you 15% off. We're talking about unforgettable gifts for sports fans, grads, housewarming, Mother's Day, Father's Day, any occasion. He started selling art at the K-Lot and Rice's Flea Market and credits Philly fans for launching his career. It's not just Philly sports stuff, though. If you've got someone in the family who's like a big Michigan football fan or Alabama, he's got all kinds of different colleges as well. These pieces are total conversation starters. You'll spot a name, then another, and soon everyone is reliving their favorite sports memories. He has been featured on the Today Show, ESPN, and TED Talks. Check it out at artofwords.com. That's artofwords.com. And once again, code PHLY at checkout for 15% off your purchase.
And tonight at 8:30, we got Game 5 of the NBA Finals. It's been an awesome one so far between the Pacers and the Thunder. And breaking news from our friends over at Bet365, there's a new promo dropping exclusively for the finals that customers can take a chance of to win a jackpot up to $100,000 in bonus bets with the first play fortune. To enter for a chance to win a share of the $100,000 jackpot in bonus bets, you must place a 3-leg same-game parlay where the 3 legs are a player to score the first basket, a player to get the first assist, and the first rebound. Only bets consisting of those 3 exact legs will be eligible. So log in to place your bet or sign up, and new customers use code PHLY365, deposit $10. Place that 3-leg same-game parlay for a $1 minimum bet. And whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In-app only. T&Cs apply. Opt-in required.
All right, and I mentioned that it is Spirit Week. In conjunction with that, no super chats this week, okay? No super chats. No. Your donations will instead be going to the good folks at Big Brothers Big Sisters. As part of All City Spirit Week, we're teaming up with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, an incredible group creating life-changing mentorships for kids across the country. We've set a big goal, company-wide, all city-wide, $10,000. But we'd love to smash right through that, and we can do that with your help. You can donate using the link in the video or the description. And if you want to make an even bigger impact, you can also sign up to become a big by visiting bbbs.org/allcity. Let's do something meaningful together this week. And, you know, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. 30% off all merch today as Spirit Week begins. So there you go.
Yeah, it's very simple. I've already donated twice today. Just right there, there's a little donation thing in the chat. So if you're able, it's a great cause, great charity. So let's try to help them out.
All right, Rich, who else do you have as likely?
So I have 2 more names, one of which I wasn't 100% sure just because it's a little bit of a position. We can talk about it. The next one I had as likely was Landon Dickerson, and it had to do.
This one really surprised me,
and it had to just do with the scarcity of
yeah.
Like,
If
great
Brandon
players.
Brooks had played like 2 more years, you probably can't have this conversation right now. But I think he's in.
I think Brandon Brooks is up there right now.
I think he probably is the guy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's
And I'm
just
saying it's
surprising
short
given
sample.
all of the organizational, emphasis on offensive linemen. There haven't been that many long-standing guards, right? You know, Sean Andrews was with the best guard in football for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Brandon Brooks probably was too.
Jermaine Mayberry.
Yeah. He's got Brooks has 3 Pro Bowls. That's tied for the lead.
Yeah.
With Bucko Kilroy, who's pre-Super Bowl. And so Landon Dickerson's already got 3 as well. So he's going to be here for a while. He probably is going to go down as the best guy.
I
in
think it's
franchise
easy.
history.
Yeah, I think you could make the case right now him and Brooks are equal footing. And if you're simply projecting ahead another year or 2, Dickerson is probably going to be another Pro Bowl guard. And
Now I see some love for Todd Harriman's in the chat, and Todd certainly has the longevity.
That's true.
I don't think was
He
ever
played some tackle,
at that
too.
level, and he's also because he was so versatile, moved around so much. I love Todd.
Loved him. Yeah. They've had a ton of very good guards, but they don't have the.
I would
Jason
also
Peters
say
level.
Evan Mathis was great too, but he was
Yeah.
only 2 years,
Yep.
right? Like
Here, I would say though, I don't think that Landon at his best has ever been as good as Brandon Brooks at his best.
that's probably fair.
So I think it's going to have to come to. He's going to need to put together
Longevity.
I mean, give me like 5 Pro Bowl seasons. Which I mean, he's young. He's getting paid like the best guard in football. So there's a good chance he gets there.
We have a angry Fran Duffy in the chat as well.
Fran says the disrespect for Jamon Brown, adjusting his gloves mid-play. We do apologize.
I think if you're projecting ahead, I think Landon Dickerson.
I was surprised by that.
we go back in 3
Just
years,
off
like
the top
he's
of my
in.
head, but then you look and it's hard not to argue.
He was the next person on the list for sure for me, just because of.
Interesting.
Well,
There's
okay.
one guy who I would have thought was ahead.
Okay, and I think I'm about to say him.
Go ahead.
Jalen Hurts.
No.
Oh
No?
wow! I was gonna say. I was gonna say
I think
Saquon.
Hurts is a bigger conversation. I thought we were going Jake Elliott next.
Oh,
That was the other guy I had. Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's a straight head-to-head mano-a-mano.
David Akers versus
David
Jake Elliott.
yeah, let's do Jake Elliott first
Okay.
because Hurts is the longer one.
Now longevity is he's going to need like 4 more seasons to get to Akers, but I don't know. He's better. You know, he's got a higher make percentage. Now kickers across the league are better.
That's why I
like,
still have.
I don't know. Like, you know, I like David Akers, but we're talking about like, you know, you're asking him to hit like 38 yarders. You know, like
that's true. No, I think the reason I still have Akers ahead of him,
Super Bowls, but yeah.
Hey, look, the leading scorer of all time.
Yeah,
that's right. We had we one of the giveaways on Saturday at the golf was you know, there was a bunch of nice pieces of memorabilia. One was a signed Jake Elliott photo from the Super Bowl, but he signs it Jake Elliott and he says most points in Super Bowl history. It's like it's a very funny thing to puff out about, but yeah, I mean it's true.
Yeah, I mean I would write that too if I was a kicker.
Yeah.
No disrespect to kickers.
Should call him Mr. 16.
I like that.
Yeah.
But David Akers felt like a revelation because kickers back then were horrible.
Yeah.
And when the Eagles actually, and by the way, the Eagles kickers also horrible.
Yes.
You know,
Chris Bonio.
Chris Bonio.
I was convinced he was going to be it when he came here because he killed us with Dallas.
Sure.
I was like, we got Chris Bonio. Things are looking up.
And when David Akers got here and they had like an actually reliable kicker, I remember there was one game. I feel like this might have been like 2001. Do you remember they ran out of timeouts at the end of the game? I think it was at Pittsburgh, and Akers like ran onto the field and made a field goal. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this has never happened before to the Eagles in my life.
That wasn't the T.O. Donovan blow up.
No,
was it?
No,
okay,
it was before then. Anyway, but yeah, David Akers was there from what 2000 to 2010.
Something like that.
Is that right? Yeah, because his last year was the year that he missed those kicks against the Packers.
We can all count
in the postseason.
Andy's.
Man, Andy, that
it was tough.
It was true, but that was some tough stuff right there. Do you remember that when he threw Akers under the bus for
we
that game?
We can all count.
I mean,
what does the chat think? Akers or Elliott? How close is Jake Elliott to getting there? I kind of think he's already there.
I mean, I think when you put the clutch gene in, like he's made some massive. Not that Akers wasn't clutch, but like Elliott's just come on bigger stages. That's got to count for something, right?
It might just be that Elliott's more front of mind, so his misses are more front of mind, right?
Yeah,
when he was looking a little shaky at the beginning of the
I think if he makes it through another 2 years, at about this level, I think he's got it.
I think that's right.
And Rich Bobby does say, you know, when he went down there and trolled the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL draft, there's some cool points earned for that. Yeah, I'll give Elliott 2 more years. Okay, and I think he can eclipse him.
I have a pretty funny David Akers story. One of my it has nothing to do.
What else are we here for?
It has nothing to do with David Akers.
Okay.
Love a David Akers story that has nothing to do with David Akers.
So I was probably like 21, 22. It was like some of my first bar experiences. And one of my friends, he convinced a bunch of people at the bar that he was Johnny Akers, David Akers' son. And they all believed him and they gave him free drinks. I don't even know if David Akers has a son, but the bartender was very excited by that. That's it.
Great.
I mean, that's a classic. It's a classic bit.
So stupid.
Like that.
That's great.
All right. You want to have the Jalen conversation? You want to talk quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, rings matter, right?
I would say so.
You know, I think Donovan is the guy right now. He's got 6 Pro Bowls. He's got all the longevity records. But I mean, Jalen's going to be here for a while. I think this is one where I probably would bet on by the end of his Eagles career, he goes down as the best quarterback in franchise history.
He has the most to still do, but is still in the likely category just because of the nature of the position and his contract and all of those things. I think it is a safe bet to think he'll be here for a while. Although we might have said that for Carson Wentz at some point, right?
True.
2019 season, maybe.
Yeah, I think he will get there. I have a hard time not putting him there
already.
Now. Yeah,
interesting.
Like 2 Super Bowls. Excuse me, 1 Super Bowl,
1 ring, but 2 appearances.
2 appearances. Yeah. I mean, that's I know he had better teams than Donovan, so like there's that conversation.
Yeah.
But he won.
It's really hard to not look at the 4 biggest games of his career, the 2 NFC championships and the 2 Super Bowls. And see a 3-1 record and see 3 A+.
And he does seem to play his absolute best ball in the biggest spot. And
I think it needs to get a little bit closer longevity wise. I mean, he's only been the quarterback for 4 seasons.
Sure.
I think you got to get to like 7.
How far away is he? Like passing yards, he's still a good bit away from
He
McNabb,
is,
right?
yeah. But then you add on the rushing yards. He's already in the close to the top 10 in rushing yards in franchise history.
Yeah, I think he still has some work to do.
I think right now it's Donovan still, but I think I would also bet on Jalen will get there pretty conclusively.
So Jalen is 6th right now with just shy of 15,000 yards passing. Donovan's up at almost 33. Touchdowns 85 to Donovan's 216.
So,
but like
if he plays 2.5 more seasons, the other stuff starts to take precedence. And he'll play 2.5 more seasons.
I don't want to like Donovan erasure like
play way more than that.
His career because he was great and he was like one of my all-time favorite Eagles. But I have like bad taste in my mouth leaving games. Like I was at the Arizona NFC Championship game, and if like he puts that Kevin Curtis a little bit more on the money, they're probably winning that game. Like he did come up small in big spots, and like I can't just shake that from my head.
Yeah. Now listen, Rich Bobby is making the point about who would you take to win one game. I do think that is a different conversation, and I think Jalen.
I would take
probably.
Jalen.
Well, no, would you take Jalen over Nick Foles?
Yes.
I think probably.
Yeah.
What about Tanner McKee?
Well,
that's tough.
Yeah. We'll have to see what the people have said about Zach. And by the way, we do appreciate the responses. Thank you for declaring me the victor of the game on Friday. I agree. In the only place where I'm weaker compared to the other two, offensive line, it's still a very good offensive line, so it's not an actual weakness, whereas the other two rosters have
pretty
weaknesses.
Good wide receivers.
I'm very glad that I won. Yeah, listen, I just think you're talking about the best quarterback in franchise history. You do need a little bit more of longevity. Let me ask you this. What is closer, Donovan and Jalen or Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni?
Ooh.
Who do you give more credit for? Like, if you're just talking height and Super Bowl appearances,
Reid
right?
kind of built the foundation for all of this. So like it's hard.
Like
but he didn't win.
But he didn't win.
I think if Nick wins a second Super Bowl,
I think it's not even a question at that
probably.
point. Yeah.
Whereas
I think if Nick makes a second Super Bowl, it's not even
he would to have made 3. But even right now, I think I would give more credit to that era to Andy in terms of best in franchise history than Donovan, if that makes sense.
I agree with that.
I agree with
Fair?
that. Yeah. Have you guys seen the QB rankings? They've already come out. And I feel like Jalen Hurts' position, it's not just going to be Philly radio and people. National people are going to be arguing about Jalen Hurts the entire offseason, I feel like. Is he 5th? Is he 13th? Something like that.
I know.
I don't care. We won the Super Bowl. Who cares?
That's the healthy.
I'm just saying that's going to happen. And
yeah,
the Eagles fans are already not happy with.
Now, if I was to ask you, like, what other franchise would have a non-Super Bowl winning quarterback as their top quarterback or a winning Super Bowl quarterback over a non-Super Bowl winning quarterback?
Dolphins.
Like, there's really not many teams that could say that.
Dolphins,
right? Like, wouldn't Jalen get the nod just for winning?
But like Dan Marino's ahead of like Bob Greasy,
right? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of these situations.
Probably not.
Well, let's think about it.
Like Bradshaw versus Roethlisberger, they both won.
Yeah, they both won.
Eli
I see what you're saying.
versus Phil. Well, Phil won. Is there a non-winner that trumps a winner?
Yeah, Dolphins is a good one.
Dolphins is probably the prime example.
I was gonna say, like, when the Bears don't have an actual one.
The Ravens,
so it probably is Jim McMahon.
Like Lamar Jackson might
Ravens
be better
is a
than
good
Trent
one.
Dilfer. Yeah, that's a good one. Matt H in the comment there. Thank you, Matt.
Or Flacco too, but I think it would be Lamar, right?
Yeah, Lamar's better than Flacco. Flacco won 4 road playoff games in a row. You know what I mean? It's like it's a tough argument.
That's a good one. I think that's a fair framing. Okay. What does the chat think? Is it still McNabb or is it Jalen Hurts? I think it's still McNabb for now. Okay. Do you have anybody else as likely?
Don't have anybody else as likely. The possible tier is loaded.
Possible tier is loaded. Let's get to the possible tier.
All right. Top of the possible tier. I don't know who trying to think who the first person would be. I'm going to go with Jalen Carter as
oh wow,
as the top.
Are we considering 2 D tackles? Or are we considering
no,
one?
it's got to just this is just one. So
the
I mean,
one, okay.
I think you're talking.
Fletcher Cox is going to Canton.
I mean,
But
have you seen
are we
Jalen
talking
Carter
about-
play?
No,
What
I
about-
know. I wrote him down on my list. I think he's worthy of the consideration.
But where are we considering Reggie White?
Oh, I thought we were saying DN.
Yeah, I consider.
So we're
him
just
DN.
saying Reggie's
no.
an end and
And Carter's a tackle.
okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think it's him.
You're
and
right.
Fletcher.
I understand different schemes and,
Yeah.
and they do different
okay.
things.
Well,
right?
that's okay.
if
so-
Reggie White's in the tier, I will move him down. Okay? I did not assume that. Okay.
okay.
I assume that. He was
so
number
for
one.
Jalen Carter to get past Fletch, it's going to take a lot of work.
It is.
That's why it's possible.
Yeah.
It's totally possible. Fletcher is on the all-decade team of tackles. Most of those guys make Canton. How many Pro Bowls? Do you have the numbers offhand? It had to be like 6 or 7, right?
For Fletch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was a generational type. So I think Fletch is it, but it's certainly possible.
Would you say that Jalen Carter's first few years have been better
Yes.
than
I
Fletcher's?
would
6
say that.
Pro Bowls for
6. Yeah.
Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, but
I would say his first couple years are better than Fletcher's first couple years.
Fletch was great too. But Jalen Carter is on a track to be like one of the 2 or 3 best defensive linemen in the league for like a 4-year span.
Absolutely.
Like a complete game record. And Fletch was probably just like a little bit below that tier. I know he had a couple seasons that were
He also suffered because he was in the same era as Aaron Donald, so he was never,
sure.
like that. But
I just think Jalen Carter is going to be Aaron Donald.
I think there's a real chance.
There's
of
a
that.
chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
For him to do it, he's got to intercept one of those spikes.
That's true. That's true.
Once he does that, I'm in. Yeah, listen, that's how good of a player he has looked to be. But this, I mean, likely is the right tier.
Yeah.
It's gonna take like
Health.
He's gonna stay here,
Staying here.
and he's gonna play at this level for another like 6 or 7 seasons.
But with so they probably are going to avoid his 5th-year option, right? Lock it up. So
yeah, I think that
5
they
or
will
6 year deal.
they will sign him to like a $300 million
So
deal.
you're looking at minimum 9 years, possibly 10 in an Eagles uniform. Is that enough to eclipse Fletch? Probably
At that
right?
level, probably. Fletch 6 Pro Bowls, but only 1 year as a first-team All-Pro.
Fran said he does not think he gets in. He's on the outside looking
Hall
in.
of Fame. He's
Hall
not-
of Fame,
he's not-
yeah.
Not saying whether he's the best.
Will
I think
make
that's
multiple
probably right.
semifinalist lists, but doesn't have the final cut. Would be my prediction. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
I mean, I got to give it to Fletch now, but it's
Who-
certainly possible.
So you were surprised. Who would you have had?
Well,
next?
it's because I had Reggie. I was thinking
Yeah.
about Reggie White.
That's right.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a few more.
Oh yeah, there's a
Okay,
bunch.
let's hear the
more.
next one, and then we'll
Let's
do
do
a
let's
break
do one
after
more.
that.
What do you guys think about Dallas Goedert?
This is now we had a
I
little
heard
bit of this conversation
Friday.
on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's possible if he's here beyond this year,
that's the tough part.
and we're all sort of pricing in that he's going to be gone after this year. I'm still relatively safely Ertz here.
Yeah, me too.
And maybe that is overvaluing receiving production over the all-around player. But he's been so injured. That's one thing. I think you could make a case that him at his best was more valuable than Ertz at his best, but I'm not sure I even agree with that either. I think Ertz is pretty solidly the guy, which is funny to think about because this is the position where the Eagles have had there are like 5 guys you can make a case for. There are a lot of really good tight ends in Eagles history, so it's hard for me to give this one to Goddard.
Yeah, it feels like Ertz is tough to dethrone here.
I don't think he's going to get it, but I feel like just because he's done a lot of the work, and let's say he has 2 more
Yeah,
decent years here, he's gonna play 1 more. Well, I'd be a little surprised if he was here next year, considering how that all played out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just worth the mention, I think.
how many Pro Bowls do you think Dallas Goedert has made?
1.
I was gonna say 2.
0.
Oh wow!
Isn't that surprising?
God, they just give.
Well,
Pro
he's
Bowls
always
out.
hurt. There's always like a 4 to 6 game stretch where he misses every year. It
Yeah.
feels like. So that's going to kill you and that type of stuff.
And I don't want to be Mr. Pro Bowl guy, but it's a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
There's always Kittle, is
Sure.
getting a spot, and I think they only get 2, but still.
How many,
Yeah, I
how many
thought-
did Ertz have? I
I'm
feel
gonna-
like
I'm
they're
going to say 3 for Ertz.
But it's like you said, I feel like
3 for Ertz.
might be
Okay.
over-indexing on the receiving a little too much.
A little bit. But I don't think, I mean,
Goddard's a much
he's
better blocker.
1,000-yard
than Ertz,
receiver.
Too much.
116 catches in a season.
Chad Lewis getting some love.
Almost a double 60-catch season.
Chad Lewis had the nastiest injury in Eagles history, where he got his Mando area ripped.
I don't remember that.
Asante Samuel once had a lacerated groin.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Chad Lewis got a spike in the rectum and ripped the.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, I mean, jeez, I still get shivers just
Sounds
thinking
like
about
a man
that.
who needs some full body deodorant.
I will never forget Chad Lewis because they had them mic'd up for the NFC Championship game in 2005, so 2004 season. He makes the second touchdown catch of the game for him, and he breaks his foot. They had to play Jeff Thomason in the Super Bowl. But I'll never forget, he's on the sidelines, and I forget who he's high-fiving, but he high-fives a guy, and he's like, I broke my foot! and he's like really excited. And it might have been Freddie Mitchell, and Freddie Mitchell is like, seriously?
Are you okay?
He's like, let's go! Because he is celebrating that they won the game. They're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But knows it was a very interesting reaction.
That's very funny.
For a bittersweet moment, I would say.
So Dallas Goedert, he's already 13th in receiving yards in franchise history. That's higher than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Selleck is 9th with just shy of 5,000. But I don't think, no offense to Brent, I think he'd take Goddard over.
Oh, I don't know. I think you could.
You think
I
that's
think
a
you
good
can
one?
make a case for Selleck over Goddard right now. Over the
Okay.
arc of his career.
Yeah.
You could make that case.
Yeah.
I
think-
think Ertz is
Keith
safely
Byers,
above.
too, I guess,
Yeah.
is another guy that, well,
Keith
kind
Jackson.
of-
Yeah.
Selleck's
Keith
first,
Jackson, excuse me.
first 3 years were really good.
Yeah.
Like 2009, really good season for him.
All right. I think we got a couple more likelies coming up on the other side, but first, a word from our sponsors. If your hairline's been slipping and you're thinking about doing something about it, listen up. Hair transplants aren't just cosmetic, they are real surgery. And if you're considering flying overseas to save a buck, think again. At Glatt Hair by Morgenstern Medical in Bala Cynwyd, you are getting care from board-certified surgeons with over 30 years of experience. They follow strict U.S. safety standards and deliver results that actually last. And here is the best part. You can text them a photo of your hair right now, and their team will take a look and let you know what the options are that make sense for you. No pressure, just expert insight. Skip the travel, skip the risk. Get real care from a trusted local team. Text your photo or call 610-980-4000 or visit glatthairmm.com. That's Glatt Hair by Morgenstern Medical. Let's get that hairline back in the game.
And now let's talk about our friends at Empire Today. And guys, just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. And Empire Today are the ones that will help you get it. Empire Today, they have flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. And guys, we've all been to those big box stores. You wander through endless aisles, then you're hauling all of the materials home, you're looking for an installer, and you're really coordinating everything yourself. They might have a flooring department, those box stores, but the person helping with you with the flooring might be doing something else in the next 5 minutes. Not at Empire. They live and breathe flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. And the flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. You can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. Very convenient process. And with Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. We all know that nobody likes to wait. So guys, here's what you need to do. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 off discount when using promo code PHLY. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for full details.
And let me tell you, it's a little something cool we got cooking on Wednesday, the 18th of this week. It's going to be a streamathon here at PHLY. We are going to be live, the full staff. Well, not for all 12 hours, but we'll be live for 12 hours with some musical chair kind of crossover amongst
Johnny
hosts.
Holstaff.
Yeah, the whole entire staff is going to be here. We'll be playing some games. You want to watch Fran Duffy, Charlie O'Connor, and Derek Bodner talk about their draft processes and big hits and wins throughout their careers. It's all going to be streaming on our YouTube channel. And here's the kicker. If you want to support us, just hit that subscribe button. Not only does us help us keep creating the content you guys deserve, but it gives you front row access to all of the madness. So mark your calendar this Wednesday, the 18th, 12 hours, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., a streamathon, and it's all brought to you by our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union.
Yeah, I mean, a little peek behind the curtain. Let's get those subs up. That's what we're doing. What can we do for you? Tell us if they're, Zach is off this week, but maybe, 1,000 subs and we'll FaceTime him in. Something like that. Tell your friends. Let's get those subs up.
Chris said he would be willing to take a tase if it was the proper voltage. So
stronger man than me.
Yeah, there's that.
Was this jackass?
He said he's taken one before. I was like, huh.
Okay. Who's gonna staple their nuts? What's next? Just prostituting ourselves.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris Frezza, and this is PHLY.
Party boy.
Yeah. I miss Jackass. I love that show.
That was great at its peak.
Yeah.
Were you a Jackass guy?
I mean, I watched Jackass. It's like a high variance.
Sure.
Yeah,
right? Like some of them will make you laugh as hard as anything. Some of them I just I gotta look away. Like I can't. I will never forget the paper cuts between the toes. That's like, I cannot even handle thinking about that.
Yeah.
The one that I'll always remember, I think it's in the second movie. They have Wee Man on a seat that would like shock him, and they're pretending that it's a guy throwing cards at him. And he just does not comprehend that it's not the cards and it's the seat. The joy in that room, just laughing at it as he can't figure it out. It's great.
That's very good. All right, who else is on your potential?
There's a few names here. So
I got 4 names left here on my list.
All right, let's
talk running back.
Let's talk Saquon. That
is it possible?
Yes.
One season in.
It's a good season, though.
So he had over 2,000 rushing yards last year, obviously. If he does 75% of that, he'll already be 10th all-time on the all-time rushing list for the Eagles after 2 seasons.
That's crazy.
With 1,500 rushing yards. Shady had 6 seasons that he was here. It's because this is a position where the shelf life is so short. I mean, Shady's atop all the record books for the Eagles. He and Westbrook
would be the top.
Both made 3 Pro Bowls, I think. I don't know. Like Saquon has 2 more years like this, or even close to this. I mean, he's probably the guy.
If he has 2 more seasons like this, he ties Brian Westbrook for rushing yards.
Yeah,
and eclipses most likely touchdowns too. And he was tackled at the 1 yard line, 10 or 11 times last year. So theoretically, there's an opportunity for more touchdowns next season. I mean, it's certainly possible.
I mean, Shady, if you look at his 2013 season, that's probably his best season, right?
Yeah.
And Westbrook 2007 is probably his best season when they weren't very good. I mean, that's just not even close to what Saquon did last year, right? This is a completely different level. So
I don't think that he needs to get to to pass Shady's volume to be thought of this way.
No,
but I think he needs 2 more years of being the best running back in football.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever been able to say as Eagles fans that we've had the best running back in football for a 3-year period.
I don't know that anybody's ever been able in 20 years.
Yeah, so like Vikings,
LT maybe. Yeah, like it's just
the
shelf
couple guys
life is so
but
short.
Like that's how special he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, if he can do it for 2 more years, I think you can very much say there's a pretty damn good chance.
Well, and with receiving yards too, he doesn't even have the benefit of the Andy Reid screens. I mean,
true.
I know. I kept seeing Westbrook. I thought I was on rushing. I was on the receiving page. He's 17th in receiving.
He was so good. I
mean,
they would just give him the
who
ball.
Dainez has as the best running back in franchise history? Dallas Goedert.
Right. Classic oversight by us earlier.
Okay.
Yes.
Who else do you have?
Well, and this is
now we're getting in early, but yeah,
getting in early. So let's not say the guys who were in their first year. I think it's fair to say possible. let's just say this guy plays for a long time because it's already a position we talked about, and that's Jordan Mailata. Where
Okay, if you're saying just left tackle.
yeah, look, he's going to have to play for forever, and he's going to have to play at a super high level. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think he has played well enough over the past few years that you at least.
What was Jason Peters? A decade?
Yeah,
I think that's tough for me.
You don't think he's ever going to get there?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that he could ever get because
There's a couple Pro
JP
Bowls,
was
wasn't
so good.
He was.
he? Actually, it's funny that Mailata has an All-Pro but not a Pro Bowl.
That is funny.
Yeah,
I don't.
you're right. You're right. This was stupid.
No, it's not stupid.
I considered him.
I don't think. I don't think realistically he could get there.
You're right. You're right.
For me.
All right. Then let's move on. The next two, I'm just going to say, same position. One of them podcaster. Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is the primary
He's a
one.
lock.
Yeah.
That is possible.
This is good.
Absolute
Good
lock.
And I'll just say
This is another one where on like the bar is pretty high. You know, you've got
Eric Allen.
Eric Allen.
Yeah.
You can make a case for Troy Vincent, but you know,
Sante was a small.
just don't mention puberty in front of Troy Vincent because he's going to lose his mind. That is not appropriate.
This is the NFL.
No.
This is the NFL.
There are women who can hear this.
Not any of the owners, mind you.
So,
but
how dare you mention a wet dream? Ridiculous.
I think Asante's small sample size, so right, that's eclipsable.
Yeah.
Sante was so good.
I mean,
Sheldon
I think
was very
it's
good.
Eric Allen.
It's Eric Allen, and the rest are. I think Quinyon can be better than Eric Allen. I'll say it with my chest.
Well, I know
out.
you do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go down fighting for that one. Eric Allen was amazing, but if
I think it's
Quinyon
tough.
is here for 12 years,
12
The
years.
problem is he entered
Darius
the league a little
Slay
bit
will
older.
you figure what
33
33 is the fall off for the rare examples of like the Slay types, like 32, 33.
He's,
What is he?
the
20?
odds are is he's not
Yeah.
playing.
10 years. Can we say 10?
I
Yeah,
think
10 would
that's
be-
too much.
What was Eric Allen's
It's unrealistic. I
prime
think.
here? Let's see.
No, I don't think he needs to play that long. I'm just saying he's got a long way to go. He just played 1 year.
Yeah, lock. Greatest cornerback in Eagles franchise history. Quinyon Mitchell.
Okay.
I would bet against it, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it to
it's
EA,
okay,
but I think
okay.
it's 100% within the realm of possibility.
So Eric
I
Allen,
think it's unlikely.
Eric Allen was amazing. I have done a YouTube deep dive of some of his highlights. Man, the quarterbacks were not very good. Back
Yeah,
then. They were.
that's fair.
He was
Some of
only here 7 years.
He has a pick six, one of his best plays against the Jets. It's an awesome return.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's one of the worst throws I've ever seen. It's Boomer Esiason too. It was probably one of the better quarterbacks. Not a bad quarterback.
He had
back then.
4 pick sixes that year in 1993.
Now, if you split off nickel into
That's
its own
true.
position,
So is that getting closer to likely?
I think that's more likely.
Yeah, that's what I
The
mean.
problem is
Is he going to stay
will
there?
he stay there?
Yeah, he's going to want to
Yeah.
get paid more.
Yeah. Now you could make it worth his while.
You
know,
could.
make him. You could pay him like a
Yeah.
star caliber outside corner.
What do you make of that whole situation? Jamie and I were talking about that last week. I think to me, it's clear that on this current team, the best spot for him to play is in the slot.
I think that's right.
And I think he proved last year that it's probably a more valuable position than we give it credit for when it's played like
And I
he
think
did.
specifically in this defense.
Yes. Yeah. But they don't make as much money at that
Yeah.
spot. So is there going to be a time when
How
he's
much
gonna-
do
Probably
Howie-
by probably his 4th year, unless they have already signed him to a deal, he's going to want to be on the outside.
Yeah.
'Cause- Yeah.
Unless Howie and Jeffrey give him the,
Unless
hey,
they
we'll
pay
take
him
care
like
of
that.
you
Right.
like that.
Right.
I'm just saying, and it's not even something that he has brought up. It's probably something we don't even need to think about until at least next year. It's just something I have my eye on because he was one of the most valuable players on the defense last year, and he has the ability to play this position that has what you would say is a higher earning potential.
Yeah.
But the best spot to put him in is in the slot.
Fran says Cooper's got to pass Bobby Taylor for that spot.
Okay.
Who was a very good player, but certainly possible.
But who also eventually moved outside.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Quinyon. You got it, man.
can Zack Baun get there?
I have him down on my list. And I think, yes, 100%.
He was the first name in my long shot category.
Long shot, because he's already older, and he'd have to have at least 2 more seasons.
Not a
like
lot
this.
of miles on those tires, though.
That's true. Now you got Bill Berge. No, I am discounting Chuck Bednarik right now.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it just would be Chuck Bednarik. You got Bill Berge, who's got 4 Pro Bowls. Trott's got 4 Pro Bowls. I am really Seth Joyner, criminally underrated historically.
Yeah.
Only 2 Pro Bowls. Meanwhile, he's one of the only players in NFL history who has as many sacks and interceptions as he has.
He was
He's
awesome.
a true playmaker at that position. But I don't know, 2 more years like that from Zack Baun, and you can make the case.
I mean, have any of those guys ever been Defensive Player of the Year finalists?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Off the top of my head, I don't think so.
I mean, he is similar to Saquon in that.
Yeah.
He might have one of the best single years in Eagles history at the position.
And there's
Maybe
probably a natural regression this year. He probably won't be as good, just the same as Saquon probably.
But
won't
he could not be as good and still be a Pro Bowler.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And better than most we've seen.
I guess I'm just he might be in the possible category instead
He's
of
possible.
The long shot category. It's a little hard because he starts at 28 years old, right? It's not the
Exactly.
Joyner was runner-up, Neil tells us. So Seth was a
There you
runner-up
go.
for Defensive Player of the Year once. So I think it's Seth won, right?
I think I would if we're discounting Bednarik. I think I probably would go Seth, even though the accolades go Berge. But
I mean, that was real concussion uncle football.
how do you feel
back
about
then.
Trott?
I mean, it's the Axeman. I think he got the most out of what he had and could provide, but maybe not as good as some others.
He was a great player. He didn't feel like the most important guy on that defense in the way that Baun sometimes felt last year.
I agree.
Honestly.
Wasn't as good in coverage.
I think he was I think he was a little bit more one dimensional.
Yeah.
But that's
still
That's
awesome.
what they wanted. Yeah.
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 I mean, when he left for Washington and they took a hit
I
immediately.
mean, it's pretty unlikely, but
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say Joyner's the one he's probably got to eclipse.
all right. That was everybody else on my list. Did you guys have anybody?
No, I mean, I had Nolan Smith as that would never happen,
Yeah, that's
because
tough.
that's Reggie White, or whatever. Yeah, all the other good players are blocked, right?
Yeah.
He's blocked. Cam Jurgens blocked.
Yeah.
Which starter do you think has the worst chance?
Let's see here.
Which starter has the worst chance?
Or any? I mean, if you were going specialists, I would say that Charlie Hewlett has the worst chance because he's already 34.
Oh, I know.
You know,
Is
he
Ben
can't-
Van
he-
Summer
he's
starting
not going to
fullback
get
next year?
past.
Reed Blankenship has the worst chance.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one.
as a true starter.
Listen
yeah.
to Exciting Mics, please.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, because you've got Doc.
Yeah.
Although I think Blankenship has a better chance than Hewlett. He can't possibly be here that long.
That's fair.
He can't outpace Lovato and Dorenbos.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I'm sorry to the Hewlett family, but I'm just calling it like I see it.
Did you get any eyes on Hewlett at OTAs?
Yeah, handsome old man.
Yeah.
how old is he?
Let me check. I think he's 56.
Trey
He's
Junkin,
35.
35.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't get there.
Tyler Steen, Paul says.
Yeah. Although we talked about guard,
It's actually-
that's more realistic.
Yeah, that's more realistic than the
possible,
safety
yeah.
position.
Yeah. That's who I have. I mean, Jahan Dotson, if you're grouping him in with
Sure.
all wide
Yeah.
receivers. I think
Listen, I hope we play. I hope this is a true freezing cold takes exposed or whatever. And 15 years from now, Charlie Hewlett's still snapping the ball at 50 years old, and I've got egg on my face. But you heard it here first. It's not going to happen. Are we ready, Julia? Rich, I'm going to call on you today
Ooh,
because we're about
what
to
an
head
honor.
to
overtime.
All right, I promised it. You've all been waiting with bated breath. I don't remember when this was. I think maybe August. The three of us did a draft, a 6-round draft for cumulative defensive snaps played. Now, before I read the results, Should we include playoff snaps or not? I think yes.
I think yes.
Yes.
Okay.
How long did this take?
This
you
is
to
definitely going
compile?
to shift. This is
This is
definitely going to
pretty
shift
easy.
it in Bo's favor.
I'm just. Okay. The order here went Jamie, then Rich, then me. It was a snake draft. Jamie, with the first overall pick,
Oh boy.
you made a very smart selection. It wasn't the person
okay.
who finished first, but it was a very safe choice. Jalen Carter, 831 regular season snaps, 237 playoff snaps. Nicely done.
Played more snaps than we thought, too.
Yeah.
Yes, 81%. With the second pick, Rich, you took Reed Blankenship.
Ooh.
Smart base hit. 821 regular season snaps, 264 playoff snaps. With the first pick for me, another good pick, and this was the best pick, Quinyon Mitchell.
Ah, my boy.
955 snaps, 204 playoff snaps, led the team in snaps.
Wow.
Nicely done, Bo. That's the last time we're going to say nicely done, Bo. Because with the fourth overall pick, I took Bryce Huff.
No. What was the snap count there, Bo?
285 regular season snaps, 13 playoff snaps.
Wow, he got 13. What?
Tough come down for me there.
I was thinking about that during the entire Super Bowl, too. was
I know.
Bo is
Everybody's been
completely
thinking about
screwed
it,
from
yeah.
this draft we did 4 months ago.
Rich, second round, you took C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Ooh,
Another very good pick.
pick.
908 regular season snaps, 263 playoff snaps. Jamie on the turn. First to go Darius Slay.
Ooh,
Nicely done.
all right.
699 regular season snaps, 248 playoff snaps. Very well done.
What's next?
Next, it took Keely Ringo.
Ooh.
So you bet on Keely Ringo to be making some moves on the defense. He didn't have a ton. 112 regular season snaps,
What the hell was I
15
thinking
playoff
there?
snaps. That was surprising.
What the hell?
I think maybe you were thinking Quinyon would play inside.
Yeah, maybe.
It was possible. So this must have been like during training camp
Yeah.
when Cooper DeJean was still injured, right?
Right.
So then, Rich, you go Nakobe Dean as the first linebacker drafted. 858 regular season snaps,
Playoffs, not as many.
23 playoff snaps, but pretty solid. This was a good turn for me here. Josh Sweat, 622 regular season snaps, 199 playoff snaps. And then I took Cooper DeJean. So 627 regular season snaps, 254 in the playoffs. I'm making up for Bryce Huff a little bit, so that was pretty good. Rich then goes Jordan Davis, 388 regular season snaps, 57 playoff snaps. A good turn here for you, Jamie.
All right.
Milton Williams,
Nice.
501, then 153. And then Nolan Smith, bang, 546, 209. But then
Uh-oh.
Rich makes the pick of the draft.
Yes.
In the fifth round,
Zack Baun.
number 17 overall. The all-pro himself, the man who could one day become the best linebacker in Eagles history,
That's gonna win it for
Zack Baun at 939 and then 266. Then I took Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 104 and 6, and Sidney Brown, 79 and 6. So
That was
a
a
bit
rough
of
turn
a
for you.
yes, a bit of a fart in the wind for me at the end. Rich, really nice late round pick here. Goes Moro Ojomo,
Oh,
388
good
and then
pick, good
102. And then Jamie, you closed this bad boy with Devin White, 0 snaps. So in third place,
that's
cumulative
great.
snaps, including the playoffs.
I thought Bryce Huff was bad.
I can't
Damn.
believe I didn't make fun of you that first week.
Yeah, I forgot all about it.
In third
screwed,
place,
man.
Bo Wulf, 3,354 snaps. In second place, just edging me out, Jamie Lynch with 3,551. And then outpacing us by almost like
Hey, did he miss?
50%. No misses here
Yeah.
at all. 5,277 snaps. Almost 1,800 more snaps in second place. Give it up for Handsome Rich.
Thank you.
Hell of a performance.
I accept the award. I can't wait to do it again.
I mean, we got to run it back in August, right?
We got to run it back.
Zack Baun, man, what a pick.
Yeah, I mean, we must have done it in August because I feel like if we
It
would have
had to
done
be.
it at this time
Although I'm
last,
surprised that Devin White went that late, because
yeah,
it must have been, it might have been pre-week 1.
Yeah.
It must have been after Devin White was already declared not the starter.
Maybe
Maybe it was pre-week 1 when
But I don't
Zach
know-
was in Brazil.
But I don't know if I would have taken him if he wasn't in the starter hunt.
But he was still on the team. I mean,
Yeah,
went last. He went
Yeah.
18th.
We didn't know his situation until
Or-
like right before.
It was like the week leading up to the
Yeah.
first game where
Yeah.
it like came out that they were like dropping
Yeah.
him.
I think it must have been pre-week 1.
That was a horrible pick.
I think we got to do it again in August, and I think the Drew Makuba, Sidney Brown decision will
That'll be a
that
big
might
one.
swing it.
And
He's studying up.
Who's going to give the kiss of death to? Bryce Huff. Thanks.
Bryce? Oh, Devin White was
Bryce
pretty
Huff,
bad too.
very funny. Devin White also very funny. Zero snaps.
0 snaps is good.
Yeah, yeah. I must have been thinking that Zack Baun like wasn't a shoo-in to be the starter.
Well, I mean, it was also there weren't that many.
Yeah,
The people who had real snaps who we didn't draft were Isaiah Rodgers and Devontae Maddox.
Okay.
Isaiah Rodgers in hindsight should have been taken ahead of.
Hmm.
I went with Ringo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
High upside.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. Spirit Week rolls on tomorrow. Mystery guest
Yes.
day. And Handsome Fran is going to be with us for that. We look forward to that. Wednesday, don't forget, we got the exciting, what are we calling it?
Musical Chairs Day.
Musical
/
Chairs
All-Star Day. / Subathon
Upside
Day.
Down Pineapple Day. It's going to be very fun. We've got all kinds of fun shows that we're doing. Fran's back on Thursday. And then on Friday, a fun draft with Fran, Zach, and myself. Again, we're bringing back the one player or coach or thing per team draft. So 32 things. You got to get one from every team in the NFL. That'll be a fun one. Can't wait to see where Chris Lindstrom goes in that draft. So for Rich and Jamie, thanks everybody for watching and listening. Thank you to Julia, although still in the doghouse. We will see you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.